everyone. Hello, hello, hello. And I decided to cut that short because I am not going to be here long this evening. I am so glad it's over. Was done with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills about 2 episodes ago. I was ready for the reunion to just get on with it, even though it does not deserve for a four-part reunion. Andy Cohen says there's going to be a four-part reunion, and I don't know what they're going to cover in four parts. I mean, no one wants that. I mean, I think the most that the Housewives show should do, you know, is a three-part reunion. I digress. I want to share something with you before I get started. Since this is the last show, I'm going to go on. I started to pre record this, but I didn't. But I want to just read something to you that I've had, you know, on standby here for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills because we need to keep things in perspective, right? This this airplane crash that took place on that 737, um, the authorities determined that the Lion Air crash was caused by the 737's faulty anti-stall system, which forced the plane's nose down 20 times, a defect discovered only after the same problem brought down another 737 in Ethiopia shortly after, killing another 157 people and forcing Boeing to ground the fleet. According to the complaint, Girardi has resorted to embezzling the proceeds of settlements that should have been directed to his clients, including the widows and orphans who lost loved ones in the tragic crash of Lion Air Flight 610, in order to continue funding his and Erika's lavish Beverly Hills lifestyles. So that's key. You see, because Erika was his wife. She's saying she doesn't have anything to do with it. Yes, you do. You do. You were married to him. Says here the funds were allegedly transferred from Boeing to Girardi's law firm, Girardi Keese. That was the name of the law firm, for the purpose of dispersing to the victims. But the new suit alleges Girardi has since kept it for his own purposes and doled it out to his friends and family. By all accounts, Girardi keeps engaging in fraud and deception in order to support a never ending spending spree by himself and Jane. That's his wife's uh, uh, maiden name, Erika Jane. Um, this I wanted to go ahead, and I know that many of you already know what happened. I got this from a writer called Ian Spiegelman, and he wrote this article last December, and it's from the magazine source, the Los Angeles Magazine. Okay, and I just wanted to share that with you to put things into perspective. There is another article, and it talks about the suit, a suit that was filed Wednesday in U.S. This was like 2018 in U.S. District Court in Chicago by Illinois firm Edelson PC, which helped Girardi represent relatives of the 189 people who died on October 29, 2018, when a Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX crashed off the coast of Indonesia less than 13 minutes after takeoff, killing all aboard. That's not even the one that I was trying to get. I'm trying to get to the one where Erika, oh, here it is. Tom Girardi's former clients and embezzlement victims, Jamie Ruogamis and Joseph Ruigomez and Kathleen Ruigomez. I'm hoping I'm saying their names correctly. It's spelled Ruigomez, have been authorized by a judge on July 6, 2021, to collect $11 million from Tom's estranged wife, Erika Jane Girardi. A judge ruled last Tuesday that the three victims can pursue a collections lawsuit against Erika Girardi in order to take back the $11 million that is owed to them by Tom, per the 2020 litigation against Tom and Girardi and Keith's law firm. So that's important because as I go through this Beverly Hills, Real Housewives of Beverly Hills commentary and review, I want you to keep things in perspective as you hear Erica make certain comments. And then whenever I talk about those comments, you will have a full understanding of um, what's going on. Okay. I'm not going to be here long. I'm only going to really touch on the highlights. So this is season 11, episode 20, and they titled it New Year Old Grudges. They start with Dorit and PK. They're at their home talking to their little beautiful babies. And I hope Dorit and PK can certainly keep that home. It's a beautiful home and it's perfect home for their family size. It's perfect. They don't need anything larger or anything like that. Um, then it shows Lisa and Harry. And I was looking at Harry. I used to watch Lifetime all the time, where Harry was the main male star on Lifetime for years, you guys. I think that's how he made a lot of his money, in addition to some of the big screen acting that he did. But he did a lot of scenes on Lifetime movies because he was very, 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 very good looking. Harry's a very good looking man, or, was. He has really aged, though. He's really aged. And you know how sometimes people can be really good looking at one point in their life, and then as they age, it's not that they are not good looking anymore, it's that they are aging very differently. So I noticed that about him. Okay, the next scene is Crystal meets up with Erica, and it's at the Sean restaurant there in California. And it's the same restaurant where some of the scenes in the movie Kill Bill were um, were filmed. And this is where Crystal is going to give her Chinese New Year party. And she tells Erica, whatever you do on this day, it represents your new year. I mean, that's no different than what we do in America on New Year's. We always say, whatever you do on New Year's Day, that's going to affect your new year. And we learned that 2021 for the Chinese New Year anyway is the year of the ox, and it is it equates to stability. So that's why we've been locked up in the house all these all these months. It's been stability, you guys. It's the year of the ox. Okay. Um, I want to say this. I'll say this later, maybe. I don't know. I don't really want Erica to return next season, for season 12. However, she's going to have to return, whether I want her to or not. And the reason is most of this season, she hasn't really missed anything. And the ladies have been coddling her and including her in every scene. And it's almost like it's going to be hard not to bring her back. Even if you need to phase her out, this is probably not the season to do that. Next season would be the season to phase her out because she has built a certain amount of relationships, even with the new girls like Crystal. And, her and Sutton still have some things to iron out. Therefore, even though I don't want her to come back, because I think that once you are a criminal or once you have done something so um, disgusting as she has done, it's it's theft. And she can sit back and say she didn't do it all she wants to. You were his wife, and I believe you knew about it. I believe you had to know. So next scene is they show a sign of Lamitas Avenue. And I don't know if that's where Kathy's house is near, her new house is near Lamitas Avenue or what, but that's what the scene that they show. And they show Kathy's home under construction. The construction workers and developers are still there doing some work. And Sutton walks in and they go help her to come on in. And Sutton has the skinniest legs, you guys. They're so skinny, so skinny. Kathy's house is huge, right? It's huge, and on the outside, it looks beautiful. In my humble opinion, a large house does not always depict beauty on the inside. I was looking at how it was being designed, and I may need to go back and look at it some more. And perhaps when it's been complete, it'll look different. But just based on this scene in this episode, it the inside, I'm not impressed. I'm just not impressed by the design on the inside. So maybe I need to wait. Maybe if I go and look online and see how far they've come, I might change my mind. I just wanted to say that looking at it, I was thinking, well, it looks good and nice on the outside, but the inside, and it has nothing to do with the construction. I was looking at the design, you know, of the home, all the walls, the ceiling. I was looking at all of that, just the layout of it all. Just it was, I don't know. And I like open spaces too, so maybe that's it. She has a conversation with Kathy about the home, and Kathy tells her the home is going to be sold because she and Rick decided that they were not going to move in it because they have so many other great memories in the other home. Which to me didn't make sense. So you guys get down in the comments and let me know, does that make sense to you? The fact that her home is, they're not going to move. I mean, this is you're putting all of this. I don't care how much money you're worth. I don't That's a lot to put into a home that you are not going to move into and now you want to sell it. And how do you know you're going to be able to sell it in this environment that we're in? Where people are not really they're not quick to spend $52 million on a home because that's what she wants to sell it for. I think, and I'm not really a Kathy fan. At the same time, they're going to have to bring her back too because she has opened up this season with a lot of fans. There are a lot of people who like her. I think she's on something or something's going on with her in other ways. I just I can't see it. And just because someone is rich and wealthy doesn't mean they are smart. It doesn't mean that they are wise. It just means they're rich and wealthy. They have things. Things do not equate to character. And people can have an opinion about Kathy. A lot of people who like her only because of her money. They like her because of the way they view status. They equate money with value, and money has nothing to do with value and quality, has zero. Money is a source that you use to buy things with. That's what it is. It has nothing to do with who the person is. So that's why I just am not, I'm not shy about saying I am not really feeling Kathy. I don't think that she brought a whole lot to the show. However, they are going to have to also bring her back because of the fans who like her. There are a lot of shallow people out there who like her for whatever reason. And of course, Bravo is all about the money. The more fans a cast member has, then they can get commercials from Kathy being on the show, and the more those commercials are seen, people can buy. So they're thinking about the money and of it all. She goes on to tell Sutton, her and Sutton are having a conversation, and Sutton starts to talk about Erika, and she lets her know that she really has not changed her mind about Erika. Um, but she does want to move forward. But Kathy goes on to tell Sutton, um, and Sutton also tells Kathy that she feels she is in a good place with Crystal because they've crossed a threshold. Kathy goes on to tell Sutton that Crystal has put a lot into this dinner party and that is going to be no place to really start anything. And Sutton is like, okay, I know. Okay. Next scene is Lisa Rinna, Erika Girardi, Kyle Richards Umansky, and Dorit Kelmsley, the four separatists. That's what I will call them. Separatists, the four separatists. They go out to dinner together because these four are very comfortable with each other. They have similar personalities. They are not comfortable with other people calling other people on their mess. The other ladies, they only go around those ladies for the show. Garcelle, Sutton, and Crystal. They go around them for the show. But this right here, this is the main bunch right here. And Kyle, they show Kyle's Hermes. Hermes, is that how you say it? Her Hermes bag. And it's $22,000. There's no pocketbook in the world worth $22,000. I don't care how much leather you put in it. There's zero pocketbooks in the world. People sell you those bags because they want to market to a certain group of women. They want to market to a certain group of women, so they sell the bags very high. And when you pay 22 grand for it, it makes you feel like no one else can have it. Well, honey, some of us don't want it. Okay? Don't want it. And even $4,800 for a bag. No. Uh when Christ comes, this stuff is going to be smashed. Are you kidding me? It's not worth it. And then they show the cameras are kind of shady because they show Kyle's bag and she puts it up on the table so it can be seen. And as we can see, the attendant brings a chair for Kyle's bag. People's brains are stuck in a place that lacks quality, lacks character. You bring a chair for a pocketbook. I digress. But the producers were shady because they did show Dorit's Louis Vuitton at $4,800, which to some of us, that that might be a good deal. My Louis Vuittons never cost $4,800. I don't even really like Louis Vuitton. The only one I have is one with the white and the specs on it. Um, and I got that for very, very cheap at South Park Mall, cheaper than $4,800. And I got it because it wasn't the normal color, that brownish color. I don't even like Louis Vuitton, quite frankly. Sorry. um, Erika says, you know, what I love about these ladies is they're cheerful and fun. And I need that in my life right now. Erika, this is the quintessential narcissist. Really, really. Erika is the quintessential narcissist. You need that in your life. What about the victims? These people lost family members that they loved. They lost parents. They lost relatives. They lost children. And you and your husband have been living off of their dime. And you sit here and think you need something in your life right now. You don't. You don't. Had we seen you be more humble on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, or if we had seen you just show some remorse and some mercy and some grace for the victims, and now you're sitting at the table saying you need this cheerfulness in your life right now, I could buy that. I would be all in for that. So Kyle asked the question, so how is everybody? Oh my goodness. Kyle is always opening up a can of worms, and you know she's my fave on here. I like Kyle, but she really does open. She's the bone carrier. Erika goes, well, I have some good days and bad days. So Kyle tells her Sutton still doesn't believe her. And Kyle also tells her, well, after she tells her that Sutton doesn't believe her, she says, I don't give a F what she believes. And then she goes off on a tangent about Sutton. Kyle is the bone carrier. Kyle also tells her, it doesn't help. I just want to say something. I hope you don't get mad, but, it doesn't help in the court of public opinion when you post certain things. And here goes Erika. You know what? Am I trolling the people? Sure, I'm trolling the trolls. Girl, this woman is so far removed from humanity. She's trolling the trolls. That's why she's posting her crotch all over town on Instagram. I just can't with Erika. I really can't. I really can't. She is so far removed from the reality of what is happening to other human beings, that she and the fact that, whether, even, let's just say she didn't know her husband was embezzling money. Let's just say she didn't know that. Now she does, right? Let's just say you didn't know it then, and you thought that you were innocently spending the money, but now you do. Shouldn't you still have some remorse? I tell you. Next scene is Garcelle and her date. He wants to, they do flashbacks of the date. They do flashbacks because they didn't show it in real time. He wants to get to know her on a regular basis. And they have a tailgate. I guess he bought sushi or whatever. And they show Garcelle preparing for the Chinese New Year party, and her glam squad is there, and you know her hairstylist says, he just didn't bring his A game. And Garcelle says that it wasn't as spectacular as it looked on video on the computer when the person who arranged the date showed her his photos, like his abs, everything was on point. And when he arrived, and that happens, you guys, that happens. That happens. It was different. He seemed nice enough, but I really, even just from looking at them, he was not Garcelle's type. But I could tell he knew she was famous. Next, they are at Crystal's. Crystal is getting, the scene goes to Crystal's and shows her getting ready for her Chinese New Year. Then the ladies are all getting ready, and the camera's going from scene to scene. It goes to Kyle, it goes to Lisa. They show when Lisa's going to put on the wig. I forgot what they called it, Uma or something. So the ladies are all getting dressed, and they show Erika. Erika's glam squad was putting her together. The cameras did a close up on her, and I saw all of the dents in her face, just like people talk about the dents in Mia's face over on Real Housewives of Potomac. I saw the same thing with Erika, yet no one ever brings that up. Erika has on a lot of makeup because she had a lot of heels and bumps and ditches in her face. Maybe that's where Tom was. He was in one of them ditches on her face. These women wear a lot of makeup. If you take care of your skin, you wouldn't need that much makeup. That's too much, and it's ridiculous. I digress. I have a different thought process on that. So the next scene is Crystal and Rob arrive. Crystal has on this beautiful Chinese designer gown. She said that it was a Chinese designer who made it, so that's why I'm saying Chinese designer gown. And it is really beautiful. She looks beautiful. Crystal is beautiful. and she arrives with Rob, and her mother arrives with her boyfriend. They take pictures. Next, Kathy arrives with Elliot Mintz, and I am trying to understand: does Rick think he's too good to arrive with Kathy on the show, or does he just not want to be around Mauricio? Is that the case? He needs to forgive Mauricio and move on if that is the case, because it's over. Clearly, Mauricio has his own real estate firm. And I would not be surprised if Rick wasn't the one trying to get people to have something done to Mauricio illegally, because he was so pissed, from what I understand, whenever Mauricio broke off from his firm, because Mauricio took some of his people with him. Well, Rick needs to understand that people leave for a reason. Maybe they did not like working for you in the first place. That could be the case. Maybe they preferred to work for Mauricio. Maybe, and you can't tell people where to work. Just because they worked with you doesn't mean they have to continue to work with you. People can leave jobs. They can leave jobs if they want to leave jobs, you know? Um, Next, they show Lisa arriving without Harry. She has on this black sequins jumpsuit, and I like the jumpsuit. It looked really nice. I just did not like her hair. She should have done something really elegant, more elegant with her hair. Next, they show Garcelle. Garcelle is a beautiful woman. She's really very pretty. I just don't know about her fashion, and I can't say I didn't like what she was wearing, the black and the gold. At least on my television it looked like black and gold, glittery something. And I can't say, I don't know what style should she have, because that didn't really look too bad on her. I actually liked it, but it wasn't flooring, It wasn't flooring. Her face was. I mean, she's gorgeous. She's just a beautiful woman. In her confessional, because she when she walks in, or when she walks in, she sees Lisa, and she compliments Lisa Renna to her face, tells her how gorgeous she looks to her face, right? And then in her confessional, she says, uh, Lisa's look is not her fave, but what are you gonna say? So she was just being cordial. Well, you didn't have to go all out like that. You could have said, "Oh, I like," because the jumpsuit was gorgeous. So she could have said, "Oh, that's a beautiful, jumpsuit. I like that." Don't say anything at all about the hair. Just don't comment on it. Just comment on the things you like, because it looks two-faced, Garcelle. Next, Kyle and Mauricio arrive, then Dorit and PK. And at some point, Garcelle asks Rena to separate from the group because she wants to talk to her. And as they're standing there talking, she tells Lisa Rena, you know, I did 3 shows today and came here. So she had some promotionals to do for the movie that she's going to be starring in. And then she also had the reel to do. Okay, she had, like, I think 2 promotionals and the reel, and she showed up there. And you guys, that's a day. 2 promotionals is a day, okay, for them. I digress. Anyway, Lisa tells Garcelle that she's feeling really nice about their relationship, and eh, and it's funny to me, because how can you feel really nice about your relationship when you dissed her at her dinner at her house? She invited you and the ladies to dinner, and you were like, "Oh, I don't eat fish." I mean, that is just like, that was so shady. And you do eat fish because you had had caviar at Kathy's, like, a couple of days before. And you had fish in Del Mar when you guys went to Del Mar. So I'm going, what do you mean you don't eat fish, Lisa? You eat fish everywhere else. You had caviar. You've eaten sushi on the show. I'm going to pause because I want to say something. If you looked at the reunion video trailer, in my previous video to this one, A part of it shows Lisa Rinna yelling at Garcelle whenever Garcelle says to Lisa, and I'm just paraphrasing here, but she says to Lisa, I'll say whatever it is that I want to say. And Lisa says, so do I. So can we. Now, she said, so can we, as if she represents the other ladies. And I was taken aback by that because it made me think, okay, it's the white ladies against Garcelle. We can say what we want to too. Why does Lisa Rinna need to speak for the other ladies? Why didn't she just leave it at so can I? But she goes, so can I. So can we. We can too. She was speaking for the other white ladies against Garcelle. And that right there lets me know, not even just that, she has an intolerance level for black people. That's what I think about her. She has a very low tolerance level for anything that they would need or want in terms of respect or anything. It's like, oh my goodness, it's them again. She's one of those people who would do that. And I say this because of some of the faces she made early on this season when they were at uh, La Quinta and they were at Kyle's house in La Quinta. And Garcelle said to Erika, I hope you don't mind if I tell them, Tom calls you all the time. And then in the next scene, you see how Lisa began to mistreat Garcelle. And she began to lock herself with Erika, whom she has not even known as long as she's known Garcelle. But see, Erika is the W lady, and so is Lisa. And that happens in these girly relationships. And I know it does. It does happen. I cheered for a number of years and I experienced those same types of attitudes as a cheerleader. You would never know that on the court or on the field when you're cheering football and basketball, but and even in college, you know, people have those attitudes about black women. And that's what Lisa is giving me. I digress. Next, Garcelle tells Lisa, I would love to see you reach out to Denise at some point. Now, and Garcelle, this is not your business. Why are you let Denise grow up and be a woman? Why are you out here lawyering up for Denise or acting as the mediator for Denise? Denise is a grown woman with children who's been married now twice. If she doesn't know how to reach out to Lisa on her own, then you need to let it go and move on. Unless you're trying to segue so that Denise can come back on next season, which Denise didn't bring much to the show. So I'm perfectly fine with her not coming back on the show, period. She didn't bring anything. Leave her off the show. I think they need to bring on another black female on this show because these women need to be broken into being a little bit tolerable to other cultures. So I think they need to bring another black actress on and and so that they can grow. That's what I think. And even so the black actresses can grow because I'm sure that Garcelle has grown being on this show. We see Lisa in her confessional saying, my relationship with Denise is my business. And I will reach out to her when I want to reach out to her, and no one else is going to tell me when to do that. Hey, I agree with that. I can't say nothing about that. Garcelle needs to mind her business. Next, Erika walks in. All the ladies are back in the same area. Erika walks in with her hair just like Kyle's. Now, how did she know to do her hair just like that? Please tell. I know they must have set that one up. Garcelle, I think sometimes, like she hugged Erika and everything. And I think sometimes She goes along to get along with these ladies, because she hugged Erica, told her how great she looked, and all of this stuff. Next, we have Sutton and Michael. They're on arrival. They're in their vehicle, and Sutton is talking about how bad her foot hurts. But she has to go to this, you guys, or she will not get paid. She has to go. For those who do not know why she's showing up with a broken ankle. Um, Sutton's confessional, she says, I am not willing to let go of what I've read and what I know. That's what she said. And she doesn't have to. We're not letting go either, Sutton. So thank you for not doing that. So when Sutton walks in with her man, Michael, Erica just turns and walks away. And you know why she did that? Because remember when the four separatists were back at the table eating, and Kyle told her that Sutton still feels the same way she does. So that's what Kyle does. She goes and she talks to Sutton, and then she comes back and she tells Erica what Sutton said, and vice versa. And that's why, because Erica and Sutton had just, at least come close to mending some kind of cordiality, I'll say, at Del Mar, when they were talking. And now Kyle comes, the bone carrier, and she tells Erica that Sutton still feels the way she feels about Erica's lies. And that is why Erica walked away. That's what happened. She gave her a high bye. And then Garcelle, it even shocked Garcelle because Garcelle was like, well, I thought they had like mended fences back in Del Mar, and Erica just gave Sutton a high bye. That was definitely a high bye. But Garcelle doesn't know that Kyle has caused this breakdown again. And let's see here next. The next thing I want to say, they're all seated at the table, and they all have these little bags with money in them. And Crystal tells them to feed the animals. And Kyle goes, "What animals?" And then she jumps. But people, I don't know if they realize this, but Kyle jumped because she was sitting right in front of the the drummers and uh the timbrels, those things that they beat really loud. When you hit those things, they are really loud when you bong on them. And so she was right there, and that's what made her jump. If you notice, when the animals started coming out, because Crystal had just told them, you give this animal all of your money and it'll come back to you, like you'll get a lot more back, basically, and I'm paraphrasing. When the animal came around to Erica, you saw Erica just packing that money in to the animal. She wants it to all come back. So Sutton's at the table, and she brings up the fact that she doesn't want any ill will between her and Erica. And Erica, there was complete silence. Erica did not say anything. And everyone is looking at Erica, waiting on her to say something. And Erica's like, "What are y'all looking at?" And they're like, and Garcelle's like, "Well, we're waiting on you to respond." And Erica goes, "I have nothing to say." And then in her confessional, she goes, "I don't need an apology from someone who's ready to condemn me for 6 months." So she doesn't care about Sutton's apology. They show Kyle and Sutton in the bathroom. And as you can see, like I just shared with you, that Kyle was at the dinner feeding Erica everything that Sutton said. Now she's in the bathroom feeding Sutton everything that Erica has said. And telling Erica about telling Sutton about Erica. Kyle is the bone carrier. She goes back and forth getting information and carrying it. So they show Kathy, kind of Kathy and Erica set apart from the rest of the group, and Erica doesn't really want to listen to Sutton. So Kathy tells Erica, now this I do like about Kathy. Okay, this part. She says, I just want you to do something. Just listen. And that was real good advice. That was solid, good advice. Just listen. So Erica goes over there and she listens. And Sutton apologizes and Erica tells her this isn't anything that's going to happen overnight. And Sutton tells her, I know, it's not going to happen overnight. And I don't know that whole scene right there. They kind of make amends for where they are. But then you see Sutton in her confessional saying, I don't know what these ladies see in her. What do they see in this person? Sutton, we're all wondering that. We're all wondering that. But Bravo has to bring her back next season because this is not a good season not to bring her back. They've got to bring her back. Um, at one point in Erica's confessional, she says, this life isn't for wimps. And I thought, hey, ain't nobody's life for wimps. My life is not for wimps either, honey. For real. We've all been through some stuff. Most of us anyway. Some people ain't been through enough, but that's their life. My life is definitely not for wimps. Okay. And that's all I have to say about that. In terms of who should come back, I think they all, I don't know, because if they all come back, then you can't bring on the black female that I want them to bring on. And I don't know who that would be, but I do think they need to bring on another black actress. And I don't know who that would be. So I don't know who they should let go. I don't want to say Dorit. I don't like the way Dorit treated Garcelle at all. I don't like it. But I don't think that Dorit has a low tolerance for black people. I really don't, because I think that with Dorit's that way with everybody. You have to remember, Dorit came on this show through the Vanderpumps. And she sat right there at that table and she was not willing to give in even to Lisa Vanderpump. And her husband was like, oh, this is painful. This is painful. He wanted her to apologize for saying that Lisa, was carrying things back to the press and the dog issue that was going on and all of this stuff. And Dorit would not do it. So Dorit is this way. The way that we see her with Garcelle, this is just who she is. So I like Dorit on the show. I like her on the show. Of course, I want to keep Kyle on there. I don't like Kyle being the bone carrier. She needs to really slow her roll on that because it's very clear, Cal. Okay, and I love you. You my girl. Okay, um, but you got to take on a different role than being the bone carrier. Um, I, I, I guess bring them all back. Maybe I'm asking too soon for another black actress to come on, but I do think that the women need to um, be broken in. They need to be broken in. And the four separatists need to stop being separatist, okay, on the show. And that's all I have to say about that, you guys. That's it. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, New Year, Old Grudges. This life ain't for wimps. And we will see you at the reunion. I don't know if I'm going to review the reunion, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay. You guys have a great night. Thank you for coming in. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I really appreciate you and many blessings to you.